Sir, the second main commitment in the manifesto was the right to work. This was not a new thing. The Honorable Minister must have seen the reports that there are 30,000 young people who are unemployed and are registered in the employment exchanges from the rural areas, which is probably a much less figure. There is no provision in the budget for giving them jobs. I do not know really what plans the government has for it. Sir, if I understand the Prime Minister correctly, he said that depending upon the resources, they will do something about it. But then the commitment has perhaps not been fulfilled. I do not know whether it is in his power to fulfill it. So, it is not advisable to make any tall promises because in a democracy it is not very good to make such promises which is probably they knew they will not be able to fulfill. Now, there is a bad debt of about 800 crores as far as the banks go, and mostly the industrialists are the people who are guilty. I would like to know from the minister what is the position of the cases against them. He has looked into this matter. It is something which is really hurting me. In various committee meetings in which I have to deal with banks, I have been raising the question of bad debt, but the stock answer is that it has confidentiality and they would not say anything. Sir, it is only the industrialists and rich classes who have been benefiting at the cost of poor. I am very sure that our socialist finance minister will look into it. This people's budget who have been cheating the exchequer must be punished and something must be done about it. Sir, I have been raising the issue about relief for journalists. I am pointing this out to the Honorable Minister who has been very sympathetic to this class. But I was sorry to find out that the facilities he has given to writers, authors, etc. are not available for journalists. I do not really know how he forgot about journalists who are not a separate class. I hope he will surely look into this matter and take necessary steps to improve the working conditions of the journalists for increasing the facilities which are at present being given to them under the existing laws of the land. Sir, the law minister has stated that a number of companies found it impossible to comply with the provisions of this law. I would be grateful to the Honorable Law Minister if he could come forward with a statement giving the names of the companies which could not pay back the deposits they have taken. He could place on the table of the House a statement giving the names of the companies so that we will be able to examine whether these companies are superstition companies. Unfortunately, even this provision has been diluted from the original provision which had been introduced as part of the bill. The reason may be anything, but when the minister had stated that the non-implementation of the provisions of the law should be taken into account and hence the bill would be taken into consideration. I would like to know whether there are political reasons for the non-implementation of the provisions of the law in regard to recovery of deposits. It may be for any period of time, it does not matter. There are so many commissions of inquiry going on. This could be very interesting question for any commission of inquiry to find out why this particular provision could not be implemented. I would like the Honorable Minister to consider this aspect. The economic system, honorable members will remember, that suffers from two maladies. One is the parallel monetary system and the other is the parallel banking system. The parallel banking system is controlled by the deposit raisers, the companies, and the parallel monetary system is also controlled by the corporate sector by way of black money or otherwise. In both these, the banks are playing a very unfortunate role. It matters little whether they are nationalized banks or private banks. The banks are playing a very unfortunate role. I would like to draw your attention to an editorial which appeared in the Business Standard of Calcutta on the 3rd December 1998. This is the most unfortunate situation that has been brought to the notice of the public by the editorial with reference to the statement. Sir, I do not want to mention the names of the companies that embarrassed anybody. Both from south and north, there are many respectable names which have been indulged in very disrespectable practices as far as the raising of the deposits is concerned, to the detriment of the depositors, and finally the depositors have lost their deposited money.